mind projections that we call the haze, which is fluctuations in your well-being and your confidence and your adventure, the feeling of adventurousness when you're walking along the street. Like, we're in Miami Beach now, and obviously we're working on ourselves, so we know about self-development, we know how to pick our state up. But the average guy, you know, the reason he says Miami is difficult or New York is difficult or Western women are impossible to talk to is because he's in the haze. So he's trapped in this excessively paranoid, negative state where his whole world and his whole paradigm of going out to talk to people is doom and gloom. You know, like, and we still get fluctuations of that. We still get like up and down, like nervousness. What's happening is when you get that nervousness, there's a subconscious projection of it going bad, or you looking a fool, or not knowing what to say, which is not reality. It's what I call the haze. It's a false projection of how the world actually is. So we're walking around in our head with our own, we're asleep to that. So we're not consciously aware of all of this noise, this mental noise and this negative internal dialogue and the visceral emotions that you feel as a result of this worry and this paranoia. How could you be in a bad mood on Miami Beach? You know, how could you be? But we do, because we get trapped in our head and we start thinking about the worst and how we're not going to be able to live up to our expectations of ourselves and how we're going to get judged. And all of this projection, all of this like mirage of negativity that is not actually based in objective reality. Because obviously I went out there yesterday and the day before, not the best looking guy in the world, not the richest guy in the world, but I managed to get numbers and dates with beautiful women. And this haze will keep us trapped in like a self-perpetual, self-fulfilling prophecy of, if I think I can't, then I probably can't. And then we get demoralized to take action and it sinks our state, and then we don't feel like doing it because our mind is resonating with what we can't do and how we're going to look a fool, more so than the adventurousness and the excitement of getting out there to do it. You just want to be aware of what that is, you know, because people don't question their emotional state. When they're feeling negative, they just think they've had a bad day or something's wrong, or, you know, they're worried about something, but they don't look inwards and assess what's actually going on. So when you're feeling nervous, see if you can detect where that's coming from. You know, see if you can observe, what is it that my mind just imagined that caused me to feel that anxiety, that nervousness? And this is why understanding what the mind does and being conscious enough to see that it's destructive is going to serve you in being able to be free from your expectations about yourself, because the mind will always find something to be negative about. The ego will always find a reason as to why. You could have literally walked along this beach strip and got yesterday or the day before and got 5 to 10 beautiful girls' phone numbers who want to see you again. But then this is coming back, this haze, because the mind always wants more drama. It always wants something else. And if you can understand that the fluctuations in your emotional state is being created by egoic desire and egoic fears, you can then be able to see that, understand that it's not you. You have a choice whether to dwell in that, whether to entertain that, or whether to change your focus onto everything that's good about the environment and get into the present moment, get excited for doing this stuff, and choose to drop that false expectation of yourself that you're perfect, because perfectionism creates apathy and apathy creates non-action. So if you want to be consistent at this stuff, you've got to go deep and figure out the mind is flawed. You know, if you give yourself 100 reference points, positive reference points, and you build your confidence through the reference points, what happens when you get some negative feedback? Okay, does that mean your confidence goes down? And then if you're attached to what happens externally, and what, you know, whether you succeed or whether you fail by your own egoic measures, then you're a slave to constant validation. So what we want to be is free from that, and we want to celebrate the win at all costs and celebrate being in our own existence and everything that's good about the world and everything that we like about ourselves. So the moment you fucking approach, like I said, I'm not going to judge you. So the moment we get on that beach and you approach, I'm patting you on the back and you should be patting yourself on the back. So if she turns around and goes, no, sorry, no, I got a boyfriend, no, not interested, no, not good looking enough. Okay, if we take that personally, we lose our confidence. That's why the game is dangerous, because if we're attached to the outcome, self-esteem goes up when we win, self-esteem goes down when we get rejected. So it's never stable. So to cultivate and build that relationship with yourself, what does that mean? You've got to become your own fucking best friend. So when you're putting yourself out there, it's an absolute win. Everything that happens is a win. And that's not narcissistic and that's not delusional. It's just supporting yourself, because the true self knows if your ego is being hard on you and saying, oh, you failed and you're a loser, you know, and you're attached to that, your confidence is going to be depleted. It's going to go down. So it makes obvious sense that when we focus on being proud of our efforts and, you know, literally patting ourselves on the back and celebrating the win. The win is not that we get a girl's phone number. The win is that we're taking action and we're using courage, because you can choose how to filter that response. But the external world, and this is how you actually build core confidence, it's always a win. You like who you are, you're proud of who you are, you celebrate your wins, you celebrate your efforts. Now, the contradiction is, or sorry, the paradox is, we want to go out there and we want to start getting women. We want to do better. We want to express ourselves sexually and start getting numbers and getting lays. But to support yourself internally and to support yourself emotionally is actually going to increase the chance that your approaches go well. So it has to be a win-win. The most important thing is that you've got a strong relationship with what you're doing and you're proud of it and you're happy and you're not trying to get something and craving it. If you're craving, you're going to be attached to it. If you're attached to it, your emotional state is going to go up and down depending on the results. So what I'm trying to say is internal validation is everything that you do and every expression that you make and every approach that you make is calibration. It's a result. It's something that you can learn from. It doesn't have to be a negative. So the fact that we've got a consciousness where we can choose what we think about and we can choose how our mind filters external reality means that we can actually start to become internally validated by always loving what we do and always loving who we are. And that's how, don't worry about these, any rejections, any indifference, any girls who don't take their earplugs out, the coach is watching you, Dean's watching, all that's got to go. You got to go, I'm walking towards this girl and I'm already proud of myself before anything's even happened.